Welcome to another episode of War Hero to Superhero, helping military veterans and first responders transform their lives from the bedroom to the boardroom. I am one of your hosts, Daniel Faust. We are back in the bedroom for day 2 of our podcast and social media live. And this month's focus is freedom in the bedroom. And we're talking about today pillow talk. And I want to go dive in. So let's go. All right. So COVID gave us one thing we never expected. So if you're watching us on the live, I want you to participate and put in the comments. If you're watching the replay, I'd love for you to participate because the conversation is always a dialogue, never a monologue. So what was it? What was one thing that COVID gave us that we never expected? There's a multitude of things it gone over and gave us that we were expecting, but there was one thing that we were never expected to go over and get. And what do you think that is? I'd love for you to put it in the comments. What it was is time. We got lots and lots of time. We used to be super busy. We used to have the to-do list. We used to have the work duties and the family responsibilities. All those things were hyped up pre-COVID. Most of us probably just whizzed through 2019 and it just went by really, really quick. When we got to 2020, it slowed down like a brick. The to-do list kind of went away because now we had time to get them done. The work duties kind of went away because a lot of us work was dependent on people. Family responsibilities, they were a lot harder in the sense of because we were balancing time and schedule and everything else. And now we were at home. So our family responsibilities came a lot easier, maybe a lot harder with the school stuff, but overall family responsibilities for the majority of us got a lot, they slowed down drastically. And as now the momentum is going over and building back up, we want you to challenge you in this week with Freedom in the Bedroom is to build up our pillow talk. So in a sense, you guys having pillow talk, we having pillow talk, those types of things. So go grab your pillow and snuggle up because we're going to go dive right in. So first off, what is pillow talk? You're thinking like, do I have to have a pillow? No, it's usually where it happens, but it's an intimate, authentic, unguarded conversation that occurs between two lovers. So again, we're not truly having pillow talk because I might love you as a brother or a sister, but that's pretty much about it. So with two lovers, it's an intimate, authentic, unguarded conversation. And I want to recommend you to go to healthline.com because this is where we went over and gleaned our information from. It was a fantastic resource to go over and to get information from the physical and from the mental, sexual mindset. And it's a lot of blogs, a lot of great little blogs in there. So, but we first want to identify, before we get more into the definition of what pillow talk is, we want to tell you what it's not. And we're going to check the comments real quick to see if anybody answered. Chris is like, woo, I finally got caught your live session. Awesome, Chris. And if you want to go share it, even sweeter. So thank you for going over and watching. So one of the things that pillow talk is not, it's not eye-to-eye contact. It's a lot harder to go have intimate, authentic, unguarded conversations, especially if this is new to you, with eye-to-eye contact. We can feel judgment, we can feel condemnation, we can feel overwhelm and shame and all those types of things. So the first things first in this pillow talk is not to have eye-to-eye contact. So it's more of a shoulder-to-shoulder conversation. So guys typically understand this better than girls. Not saying girls can't, but guys tend to do more shoulder-to-shoulder activities and can go over and connect in this type of way. So pillow talk has a very similar concept of like shoulder-to-shoulder work, like working on a car or going over and playing a sport and whatever. So first thing, eye-to-eye contact needs to be off, at least during this time. If you want to add it in there, you both need to go acknowledge that you both want to do the eye-to-eye contact. Also, one of the things that it's not living room conversation. It's not boardroom conversation. It's not about the kids. It's not about the chores. It's not about the responsibilities. It's not about the things at work. It's not about how Susie offended Johnny at this particular regard. So those two particular things, that is not. So eye-to-eye contact needs to be avoided as much as possible because it brings authenticity up. And then also, it's not living room and boardroom chatter. Let's go check the comments real quick before we go dive in the pros of it. All right. He says, you set up your podcast is so dope. We can get with that. So, Chris, get back with me. I can go over and assist you with that. Love to go and help you in those boardroom conversations. But we're talking about pillow talk. So, let's go jump back in. So, it's not a living room or boardroom chatter. The pros in this particular type of communication, it's easier to be more vulnerable. It's already hard enough to be vulnerable. It doesn't matter if it's guy or a girl. And now you add the factor if you were looking face to face and trying to bring this conversation. So it's easier to be more vulnerable when you're talking to basically somebody that's listening, but you're not having that whole body language, eye contact thing. So goes over and makes it easier to be more vulnerable. It's kind of like if you go to the psychologist and you see always laying on the couch and the doctor's not look directly at you, but they're kind of over you, but they kind of hear you type thing. Pillow talk is more shoulder to shoulder because you're equals too. So it's easier to be more vulnerable. Another pro for this is it increases sex because once you're vulnerable and transparent and someone understands you, intimacy is into me see. So it can go over and increase sex. So ladies, guys, you can go over if you want to increase your sexual frequency, go over and start bringing pillow talk in there. Now that you know the pros and you know what to go over and set yourself up is what to chat about during pillow talk. Because this, again, if you don't have lines in pillow talk, everything goes everywhere. It's kind of like, the ooh kitty syndrome. We go from one topic to another to another. For me, that's what StreamYard does for me is that it builds me a structure to go over and talk to you guys. The same thing needs to be in pillow talk. You got to have a framework to go over and talk. So here's some of the topics that normally are covered during pillow talk. What you love about the person, sharing about those things, going over and saying, I love when you do this. I love that you're a great person. I love the way your hair looks, those types of things. Character stuff, physical stuff, all those types of things is on. What things are edifying? That's number one. Another one is dreams. I don't think we talk about them that often, and I think it needs to be encouraged there. Most dreams that go over that are living room and boardroom dreams usually start within the bedroom. And that's always the best way because if you're encouraged in the most intimate place, then when the discouragement comes from the other places, you can go back to that pillow talk to go over and get re-encouraged and reinvigorized to go over and go back into the game. So dreams should be talked about. Special moments that you go over, remember. Maybe it was a vacation, maybe it was a holiday, maybe it was an intimate time, maybe it was a saying or a moment that you want to go over and share. That's cool to go over and talk about. Couple more. These last two I want to give a minor disclaimer about. These two is when you're comfortable start talking about these three conversations. I kind of put them in a systematic order. So I would recommend as you get more comfortable, then to bring these next two up. The next one is fears. Fears about the marriage, fears about life, fears about certain things, mainly more bedroom fears more than anything else. Because once you bring the fears to the surface, it's a lot easier to go and deal with than the ones that stay in your head. Our internal voice just goes like every day. So getting them out there is huge. But again, be comfortable in pillow talk about the other three topics before bringing in this. And the last one that we recommend, again, it's the last one, is about the past relationships, past friends, maybe past childhood, those types of things, how you feel and how you felt, not in accusatory statements in there. We'll get into there on some things to go over and to frame the conversation so you feel safe and be vulnerable, but at the same time, it doesn't trigger you trigger your partner. So now the question is that you have some topics, you understand the structure and everything else. Now, how to start the dang thing? You're like, it's already awkward enough because most guys speak 50,000 words a day. Most women speak 100,000 words a day. I speak 150,000 words a day, so I could speak for everybody. But the thing is that you're probably not me, and you probably lean towards all your words were already used through the majority of the day, and now you're like, pillow talk? So first things first that we recommend if you're going to start this, plan it out. I know these is going to sound weird, but at least you have a framework. If you plan the time out, like, hey, Thursday nights or maybe on a walk. It doesn't always have to be in the bedroom, but it needs to be in a place that you can be intimate and vulnerable and transparent. So for you, if your bedroom talk is going over and out on a bench when you're going over and walking, more of my pillow talk happens when me and my wife go over and walk than actually at the pillows. Just because we never know if a kid's gonna get up. So plan it out, go over and do that. And both people have to be aware. Just because you're excited for pillow talk doesn't mean the other person's going over ready for it. So make sure both people are on board, you and your lover, not just you. I'm ready to pillow talk, and they're like, it doesn't. Yeah, it'll go from pillow talk to pillow fights. And I'm not talking about the cute ones that we seen in videos. I'm talking about drag out dirty, and I mean horrifically. Like, you don't want that emotional fight. So plan it out. All right, going from there. If you've never done this before, the strategy 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. This is a strategy I actually learned with my kid. So when we were going over and we had our first child and he just kept crying and crying and crying, he went over and they're like, you'll go clinically insane if you just keep going in and responding to the cry, but not letting him or her cry it out. But also, it's emotionally wrenching for wives and husbands. And I would say, from my experience, more wives than husbands to go over and let the kid cry it out. So, the same thing that we did when William was crying, that we let him cry for 5 minutes, then I went in. Then we settled him down. And then, if it happened again, another 5 minutes would go by, and then my wife would go in. And then the next time it was like, all right, 10 minutes, let him cry it out. In 10 minutes, go in. Then they go in for 10 minutes. And it kept decreasing on a basis. So the same thing in pillow talk. It's systematic desensitization to get used to something that's weird, do just a little bit of it and do that. And the way it works in pillow talk is you speak for 5 minutes and your spouse speaks for 5 minutes. Once you get comfortable with 5 and you got a routine, increase it to 10 minutes and 10 minutes and figure out what's comfortable for you. Maybe it's a half hour a day and you do 15 and 15. Maybe it's a half hour a week and you just do that and you increase. The more intimate and vulnerable and authentic the conversations go, you'll naturally get longer. A couple more elements to add to start out. Add touch, again, as appropriate. You don't just want it to lead to sex all the time, because you'll never get those feelings out. You'll be like, I get feelings of yeah, but not feelings of, So adding touch, usually cuddles, snuggles, those types of things, depending on the person, you go over and they get adjusted. Another one is you can do hugging. If you want, you can really add spooning, depending on who you are and how comfortable you are. And also go over and add a little laughter, maybe some jokes, maybe something to break the ice. But here's a disclaimer with going into pillow talk, because I'm going to disclaimer this on the laughter piece. No devices. We talked about earlier that our devices are developing our intimacy. We talked about that yesterday. The thing is that we need to get our dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, epinephrine shots from things that are natural. So our spouse is natural. This is artificial. This thing can provide forever. We can even get addicted and say this gives better than our spouses because we got it from there. So no devices. That's why we say systematic. 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. And then the last one for the disclaimer is when you're talking, and this is going to be practiced. That's why I recommend the 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes, is the I think and I feel statements. So definitely if you get into concepts of fears and past, and you get into like level 4, level 5, they're not actual levels, but we recommend them in that order, is if you get into the fears in the past, you want to use I feel and I think statements. I felt emotionally wrecked when this happened, because sometimes your pillow talk is going to be intimate things that happened in the bedroom. or maybe intimate things that happened in the past and you're acting out presently, or maybe it's intimate issues of you've been wrestling for a while for your spouse and you have that pillow talk and you're being vulnerable. If you use the you are statements, you are this, you are stupid, you're an idiot, you're a moron, whatever it is, it's not going to become pillow talk. It's going to become a pillow out war, and nobody's going to win. It's going to be a bloodbath. So that is your framework for going over and doing pillow talk. Our superhero challenge for the day, which I forgot to type in. I did this mobile, so it's my first time typing this mobile. So your superhero challenge for the day is to go over and to have a tabletop conversation about having pillow talk. And what I mean by that is basically you go over and you have a discussion about bringing it into your life because you're probably not used to it. So go over and share this podcast with your significant other, have a tabletop conversation on how you can go integrate it. And we'd love to go hear that on our wall to go over and do that. We will start posting our topics more far in advance as the weeks and months go over and come. So you'll have a place to go put those in there as we go build this structure. But for now, if you want to go over and just put a comment on our wall and go over and or put comments on the feed, we'd love to go hear it in the video and on Podopolo. So if you're listening to this in replay, go hit Podopolo and we'll have those challenges out there for you. So thank you very much for going over and joining. Tomorrow, we have one more topic in Freedom in the Bedroom. It's a surprise, so go over and watch. And if you're struggling, just as always, if you're struggling within the bedroom as a military veteran first responder or in any of the rooms, 20 minutes are always free to every military veteran first responder. And if you want to up yourself to the next superhero level, marriage superhero, family superhero, leadership superhero, or the overall transformation from war hero to superhero, go hit our Patreon at patreon.com/thrive not survive. And as low as $5 a month, 1 cup of coffee can go over and transform your life. All right. Thanks, guys, for watching. And again, this is always a conversation. So go over and we'd love for you to engage and to share and to go over and to connect. All right. Thank you much.